And while we have this opportunity, Mike, let's go to the highlights of tonight's ball game.
Well, the highlights were right away. Sacred Heart's going to throw the football into the end zone after a nice scramble by R.J. Noel, who did a nice job in that first job. Tyler Doobie was really a thorn in the side all night for Lafayette, although they did cover him well in the second half. That's a 7-0 lead. The ensuing kickoff comes down to Ross Sherman, and Ross takes it at the 10, and he's going to go 90 yards and really untouched right here till the end. He breaks the tackle right around the 35-yard line, gets the Leopards right back into the game, but that really was the Leopards' entire offense for the first half. The score is 7-7 at that point. And then you're going to see Drew Reed, who really struggled tonight. Protections, a lot of pressure in his face. This one's intercepted right around the 23-yard line, and that's going to lead to a field goal. Again, Drew Reed intercepted right here. Never saw Troy Moore back out after a zone blitz that time. That turned into 3 more points, and then you see R.J. Noel take this in off the fake to Kashada Spence, and the halftime lead was 20-7. Lafayette had some opportunities. They had great field position in the second half. They turned this one into a third-quarter touchdown. That was to Brian Keller, a short pass that made it 20-14, and Lafayette at that point in shouting distance, maybe getting their offense on track. But R.J. Noel late in the first half, rolling to his right on a 3-man rush. He unloads this one down the field. Jackson King makes an exceptional catch, very reminiscent of a Robert Morris play a few years ago when Lafayette made a comeback. R.J. Noel takes it in from 1 yard out, and Lafayette goes down 27-13. Just not enough offense. I thought, like you said, Gary, the defense played extremely well. They did what they had to do in the second half. They pretty much shut out the Pioneers, but then just not enough offense and way too many mistakes.
Indeed, that was the case, and Lafayette down by 13. We're still waiting for Coach Tavani to come over and chat a little bit with John Leone, and we understand that he's been chatting with his ball club. And obviously, the loss of Ross Sherman kind of stopped their offense, which looked like they were back in sync a little bit. Kyle Mayfield came in, and I thought he attacked that tonight. Just couldn't get it done, primarily because of the pressure put on Drew Reed all night long and trying to figure out, first of all, to run around and then to try to find a receiver downfield.
Well, Lafayette, I don't think Lafayette's offense is really centered around drop-back pass. It's more trying to get the ball out quick, the bubble screens. We only saw maybe less than 2 or 3 bubble screens the entire night, but the ball did come out of Drew's hands a little bit quicker in the second half, but you saw them struggle, especially against, I think, a well-prepared Pioneer defense who came in with some great fronts and some great ways to attack protections, which I think screwed up and confused the Lafayette offensive line.
And I know, Mike, they look to us to pick out the player of the game. Frank doesn't always make that player available because of circumstances, and you and I both thought that the defense represented tonight by Mark Dodd, who I thought hit as hard as anybody out there on the field.
Yeah, Mark Dodd with at least a dozen tackles tonight. He and Kilpatrick really, the question marks, the 2 guys that were going to fill in for Ben Alloy and for the other linebacker, and I thought they were exceptional. Mark Dodd was terrific. He made some great key hits inside, and then let's not forget about Brian Keller, who filled in for a good tight end. Remember, we talked so much about Brandon Hall last year and Morgan Donahue. What are they going to do at tight end? Well, I tell you what, Brian Keller stepped up and played well offensively.
We're still waiting for some official numbers here from the press box. We have not gotten those numbers as yet, and Frank Tavani continuing to talk to his ball club. This is going to be a tough loss for Lafayette. They certainly had high hopes. They certainly have a long ride home, and that will not be a pleasant one for these guys. But again, the nice part about football, as Frank says, you remember it for one day, and then you get back to work. And back to work means getting ready for Robert Morris.
Well, that's exactly what they have to do. I mean, this is just one game. It's not a league game. And, for everybody out there that thought the Leopards were going to go undefeated, that is something that's extremely difficult to do. But looking at some of the final statistics, Lafayette only ran the ball for 98 yards, and obviously adding in some of the sacks, 131 yards in passing only.
We do have Frank Tavani now with John Leone. Here's Frank.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Mike. Coach, first things first. That's a heck of a football team you played tonight. But, you came out in the second half. First of all, the adjustments were obvious. I don't know what they were, but defensively, real stout. You gave yourself a chance, but when you get down to your 3rd and 4th running back, it's a problem depth-wise.
Well, it's just like I just told the team. I've been beaten a lot of times, but that one there, we beat ourselves. We let that get away. We played awful offensively. There's not any other way I can say it. The pre-snap penalties, the snaps over the head, the quarterback dropping the ball, bad reads, and say what you want. defense, played fairly well, but they had their times, and you can't give up the 3rd and long. We got to get the ball back. We had all 3 timeouts. So, as I said to the team, everybody else is going to talk about, oh, well, the defense played good enough to win, and the offense, didn't. Well, that may or may not be true. The bottom line is, you win as a team, you lose as a team, and we didn't do it tonight. And again, my hat's off to Mark and his football team. They played well, and we didn't, and they won and we lost.
Key point in the game, Frank, you were moving the ball, especially on the ground. Mark Ross was hitting his stride. You had a 1st down run, and then 3 successive plays, you went negative 24 yards. It's difficult to, like you say, nothing. I'm not taking anything away from Sacred Heart, but those are Lafayette issues.
Well, there's no doubt about it, and that's what's so disappointing in that performance. But I know we're better than that. The kids will bounce back. It's a good group. They'll hang together. Certainly not the way we want to start. And we'll grade the film on the bus on the way home and be ready to start anew for the next game next week.
I'm sure you don't have a lot of details about this, but the injury front, I mean, a lot of guys were banged up tonight. I talked to Matt Bailey on the way out. He's hopeful that both Sherman and Mayfield could be back next week. Do you have anything further for us?
Well, I don't. Mayfield saw it. His ankle got gone. He was running hard. He was punishing people and he was getting his opportunity. We played a lot of guys started and played for the first time tonight, and a lot of them hung in there. But and Ross has had that a year ago with the hip pointer and those things. You just got to see how it reacts this week.
You've been down this road before, Coach. We know that if anybody can turn it around, this Lafayette Leopard team can, and you will. And we'll see you next week at Fisher Stadium.
Thank you.
You got it. Gary Michael, tough one up here in Fairfield, Connecticut, but I know this Leopard team will bounce back, and so will we. I'll see you guys next Saturday on campus.